favorite game or favorite couple games are of all time. What's your GOAT?
That answer is, yeah, because I get asked that a lot. And so right off the bat, it's going to be the 89 Batman movie game adaptation for the Game Boy.
Oh, yeah?
Because that was the first game we could finally afford when I was just stuck playing Tetris. Finally got a game we could afford as a family, and they got me Batman, and I absolutely love that game. I love the music. I love the platforming elements to it. I love that it's very similar to Super Mario Land, but you're basically Batman. You're like this little small Batman. And just like Super Mario Land, it has vehicle levels, so you can fly in a Batwing. You can take out Joker's balloons. Yeah, you can shoot down other ships. It's a really solid handheld game. But yeah, it will always be, and I've been asked a million times, like, everyone's like, hey Rob, what's your favorite game of all time? It'll always be Batman for the Game Boy. And then after that, I couldn't tell you. I mean, I love so many games. I could probably do like a favorite game from every system kind of a thing probably, but that would probably take a while.
Right. Well, you are into a lot of the things I am too sometimes, like with Robocop especially, I noticed. Like,
yeah.
I also played through Rogue City twice now.
Yeah, I did too. I went a second time in too, yeah.
It's a blast to play. I love that game.
The beginning of it, just once you're entering that building and they start playing that music, you're, oh my god, dude, you're like, oh my god, I'm Robocop.
Yeah.
We waited so long. There's a Robocop game from 2006, I think, that was on the GameCube, Xbox, and PlayStation 2. Do you remember that one?
I'm not sure. The other Robocop game I know of was like Robocop 3 for the PC, but...
Yeah, so there's a first-person shooter Robocop game that we got, I believe it's 2006, and it was a first-person shooter. It's terrible. It's a terrible game, but it's all we had back then. It was what Rogue City is to us today. Back then, we were like, oh my god, we finally have a first-person perspective as Robocop.
Right.
I will say this: if you tweak the sensitivity and the aim, like the controls on Robocop, it actually is not as bad as everyone says it is. I actually played through it. He moves just as clunky. The voice is terrible. It's probably the worst Robocop voice I've ever heard. It kind of sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger's like Terminator, but like if he was gargling salt water. That's what his voice sounds like. Like there, you'll pick up a power up, which is like your baby food, like from the movie.
Oh yeah.
And when you get it, he goes energy. It's so terrible. It doesn't sound anything like Robocop. But yeah, that's what we had back then, and a lot of people don't know about that game. And it's funny that when Rogue City came out, people thought that this was like the first ever first-person version of Robocop. It's actually the second, but clearly they did an amazing job. And like you said, playing through it a second time was definitely worth the reward.
Oh yeah, I liked it because, well, it reminded me of the nostalgia, I suppose. That movie, when it came out, it was rated R, and it was one of those movies that my folks allowed me to watch, despite it being R-rated.
Mine too. Yeah, mine too. My dad was like, let's watch this. And I was like, all right. And then Robocop got blown to pieces in the beginning, and like all his fingers and everything's flying off, and I'm like...
I think I remember my mom covering my eyes during certain scenes, though, but...
I don't think so. My dad was probably drinking beer. He probably cared.
It was weird. Blood and gore, perfectly fine, but showing a nipple, nope. Can't be seeing that.
That's what I'm like, shut it down. So, yeah, it was crazy, my friend.